with Shane.
Hey, Mitch, you're live streaming this, so I'm going to hit yes.
Waiting for the glowing light. Waiting for the glowing light. There we go. Hey, now we're on here. Yes. Yes. Quite. Allow notifications. All right, we're here. We're starting our stuff. We're doing our things. There we go. Okay, now we are live. I know we are live. We could park that. My goodness, technology. Got it. Do not leave the meeting, even though you host it. I don't know why. Anyway, it always asks, hey, Mitch Camage Coaching, Paul, Matt, Virtual Business Box Lunch. Whew. Beginning of October, fourth quarter screaming in. Can't see all the shirt. It says, work yourself out of business. And this week has been a bit of a doozy. I am your host, of course, Mitch Camage with Mitch Camage Coaching. On my screen, that's Matt. On my screen, that's Paul. And we're coming to you to talk to you about the week that was in business. And if I don't sound as energetic as I normally do, it's only because I'm subject to the same thing as you, which is life and business are sometimes challenging, but that's okay. We're here to help you, talk to you. And as you see this today or in the weeks and months that are coming up, don't hesitate. Like and subscribe, click the button, follow along. Check out the rest of the playlist for this one too. We have 17 other episodes of this. Boys, do you realize we've done this 17 times before?
Love it.
There's a lot of hours of the internets listening to us talk about business right now. It's an absolutely beautiful thing. So if you want to subscribe, like, follow along, hit the rest of the playlist, check out these boys as well. And you can come find us on mitchcamage.com. Anyway, the week that was in business. Last week, we set up for the final quarter. We wanted to move forward into 2021. Today, we're going to change the format a slight little bit. There's just three of us right now on this call for us at all. That's all I wanted for today as well. So, Matt, Paul, what are we seeing as the coming trends? So we had the 6-month review, 6 months in advance. This is our Q4 review, 1 quarter out. So we're talking about the Q1 review for 2022. What are we seeing as our trends right now? What are we watching? What's going on with businesses? Like Mitch sounds an awful lot like every week. No, we tackle individual problems. I want to talk about trends. I want us to find a symptom in the trends, and I want us to take that symptom and talk about it here. So our clock's at 12:15. We're a little late today getting started. It's okay. Bear with us, but we're going to motor through for the next 30, 40, 45 minutes and bring you the good stuff as always. With that in mind, Matt and Paul, what are you guys seeing right now working with your clients, your other business interests, etc.? What are you watching and what are you hearing from the marketplace right now? What do people have to be aware of for what we've got and is going to set them up 2022 and beyond? Paul, let's get some thoughts and a take from you to start with.
I think we have to take a look at commodity supply, especially with natural gas and oil. We're seeing quite the squeeze. If you take a look at Britain, if you take a look at the Netherlands, huge spikes in pricing. We're also seeing it affect us here. So it's something to definitely keep an eye on. We're fortunate we're in Alberta. So anything that goes up in oil and gas, we have a tendency to celebrate, but also are pretty upset at the gas pump prices or when we get our heating bills. So at least there is a little bit of that offset. So it's good and bad, but for Alberta, if this trend continues, and I see it continuing, we're going to see some push into oil opening back up again, and the demand for labor is going to be a push on that side as well. And the Alberta, the government is going to get some more royalties on that side. So good and bad. Especially if you're in Alberta. If you're outside of Alberta, potentially bad, especially if you're in manufacturing or, anything that you have to distribute.
Well,
Matt, thoughts?
Yeah, I want to absolutely, Paul, I agree. I ended up spending a couple of hours yesterday with a larger developer here in Alberta. And the first thing he said is, what do you think about these natural gas prices? right? Because we all woke up yesterday to the most expensive petrol, I think, ever in Alberta, right? So, but he owns quite a few multifamily and extended care facilities, 55 pluses. And again, yesterday or the day before, there was a national news segment about how expect your natural gas bill to go up by like $8 to $10. But that's not a national program. Those provinces that are more hydro based, yes, maybe they'll see that increase. But if you're natural gas based, like we are, all the coal is now gone, we're all working on gas. Well, guess what? That's not going to be an $8 or $10 increase. You're probably looking at an 80% increase. So I'm curious to see how that will affect, some of those individuals that are really at that fixed income level. Businesses, same thing. What are they going to look at based off of budgetary? Because ops costs are going to be going up if you're leasing, triple net, whatever it may be. So I'm curious how the utilities are going to play a factor, right? And again, if you're a delivery service, if you have to worry about, again, petrol prices, what is it going to look like in the next coming weeks, right? And then pause that conversation. Secondary, what you've heard in the news all over the place is supply chain. How many freighters and how many sea cans are stuck at sea right now, and to expect empty shelves, right? Like even for myself, I'm looking at what our retail customers and clients are going to be looking at, right? Because what happens if they actually don't have anything to sell? So, orders are placed and that's fine. But like if you're dealing with Christmas or holiday specific items and they're going to arrive January 2nd, what does that do to your business and your structure, right? So lots to talk about, lots to think about. And again, we've somewhat glazed over both of those items, but yeah, like utilities and definitely supply chain.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So utilities, supply chain, food, gas, all the normal stuff that we all take advantage of. Are you trying to tell me the price of potato chips is going up?
Yeah.
Oof. That's tough. That's tough. I don't know how me and my potato chip and bubbly water habit are going to fare with that one. Anyway, we're sitting there, we're looking at that. So what's something that people have to be mindful of when we consider those? Now, I've heard good thinking from both. It's like, you got to watch out for this. You got to watch out for this. That's great. What do people do? Right? My job's to help make sure that you guys steer the conversation in a way and add my 2 cents worth where I want to. What do people do about this right now? What are the mechanisms that they take? What can they now? You or I or Paul or 100 people, 1,000 people can't directly affect the commodity price, the gas price, the natural gas price coming around, the rate for power and utility. We can't affect the price of a liter of gas at the pump. So what do we do about it? What is our strategy to do about it? Be aware that this is happening. Okay, it still sounds passive. So what's our direct action items? Guys, you're really smart, right? It's what you do all day, every day, help solve people's problems. Let's take one idea and start to twist it so that people have got a plan of action to take forward next. Because just taking it is not working. And by the way, don't worry, I'll be checking the box that says, no, this isn't for children after. So occasionally, gas just went up. Get used to it. Now, what do we do about it?
Well, if that is going to go up, what in your expenses, fixed or variable, can you tinker with right now? What, if that is going to go up, what can go down? Have you taken a look at, at your cell phone? Have you taken a look at, what you're paying? Is there something that you can renegotiate? Can you go to a different company for insurance? It's really taking a look at your expense sheet and go, what can I do? And what can I get as far as a savings, a little bit here and a little bit there, because then that adds up to your bottom line. Money in your pocket, or at least to offset the gas prices, right?
Right. And again, to speak to that, absolutely. Like if you can't necessarily make more, which is obviously a driving force for many of us, hello, Lorette, we're going to have to find a way to save more, or at least not spend as much, right? So again, it'll just come down to what kind of contracts you're signing, what kind of contracts you're currently in. And if you can, at any point in time, say, hey, let's hit pause, right? Because I would say this, and I'm a layman here, but I wouldn't go in and set a fixed rate contract right now for utilities, because you're literally buying high, right? So you might have to just, buckle up a little bit and ride the the bucking bronco for the next couple of months and then get into a scenario where the pricing does make sense that you can move forward, right? Because again, there's a lot of mortgage structures right now, and Paul can maybe speak to this based off of inflation, hyperinflation, and what's longer term down the road. But right now, it's just going to be about mitigating costs and ensuring that you have inventory that you can sell to create a cash flow.
So, okay, you guys are getting really tight, really close, great ideas. So what I'd like us to do now is take it. So we've got things like mortgages, lease payments, and rent. We've got utilities, fixed commodities, and necessities in life, food costs, etc. We've got social and fun related expenses. And we're also taking on business expenses because, of course, we're talking to entrepreneurs. We're talking to business owners here. So let's give them one more specific strategy in each one. So for mortgage, should they stay in open? Should they go to fixed? Should they try and lock it down into whatever rate? If your mortgage is coming up for renewal right now, what should we do? What should they do when it comes to their rent? What should they do when it comes to their lease negotiations? Because emergency rent subsidy is not going to last forever if you've got a landlord. And if you are a landlord, emergency wage subsidy isn't going to last forever. So what do you have to be able to figure out on that end? Next, when it comes to utilities, there are brokerage services, third-party companies, resellers, etc. We take the idea of not fuel, but natural gas for a moment, and most of our utilities. What a lot of people should understand at home is that the price is going up right now, not because there is a lack of demand or a lack of supply, but utilities works in bricks, chunks, and blocks instead. And all of the utility providers are not charging you what they're paying for a gigajoule or a kilojoule of natural gas or power or water, for whatever your liter per minute flow rate is coming to your household. They have paid in large for the utility that's coming to your house for the block of it, for the water, for the natural gas, and for the power in a block somewhere else. So the price we're paying right now may have been something that they had to buy in a utility chunk a month or 2 months or 3 months or a year ago. And our rate happens to fit where their supply and inventory in their warehouse came home. So to Matt's comment on that one for a moment, our utility rate right now, don't buy high, because guess what? They got to the space in their warehouse for the power that's coming to your house or the natural gas going, well, this is the pallet we can use right now. Sure, it's more expensive. So what? Or they've decided, hey, right now we're going to use the more expensive ones so we can seem like heroes when we use the cheaper block that we bought later. You have to understand that about what's happening just with something as simple as utilities that are coming to your house right now. It doesn't mean there's less power, it costs more to deliver to your house. It's literally the amount of power or the amount of gas they bought at any given time, and they're passing the savings on to you. Something we would do at every other time. When do you charge more for something? When things are at a premium, right? More people are getting sent home, more people are getting locked down, more people are being told to spend more time at home. We've got this whole boondoggle, again, no politics, no COVID, but thanks to COVID politics, we've got another boondoggle going on right now. Weird, it's the fall, strange how that works. So specific strategies, what should people do right now to be mindful? What should they do with their mortgage? What should they do with the utilities? What should they do with their business expenses? What should they do with their employees? No, don't fire people. What should they do with their people? What do we do right now? Because cost certainty has to become an order of business, a reality. And if Justin, who's not here today, because, hey, Justin, go get him, buddy. He's pitching his business right now. Normally he's here, and that's our debt specialist that comes and talks on here as well. He's like 12 to 18 months. Well, you don't have 12 to 18 months of money. So what do we do right now to provide that certainty? Panel, thoughts?
Well, if you're looking at rates are eventually going to rise. I mean, inflation is there. We're seeing that. We're seeing the commodities. We're seeing it at the gas pump, and we're seeing it at the grocery store. So to say that inflation isn't there, it's ludicrous. It's already here, and it's going to continue to be here. That is going to be the increasing trend. As far as mortgage rates, it's really going to depend on what the governments are going to do on that side. They don't want to be raising it. We may see Canada raise their rates first before the United States. So if you're here in Canada, run your numbers. Do you really need another quarter point off? Do you need it? Do you need that 0.025 that they're offering you? Run your numbers on how much that is actually out of your pocket a month, or decide if you want the peace of mind right now and lock in for a 5-year, lock in for a 7-year. maybe even lock in for a 10-year, but take a look at what the bank is offering. And, that's where I like to use personally, I like to use brokers, because brokers have the entire field to play with. And I'm not pigeonholed or beholden to one institution for what they're willing to give me. On the rental side, in the lease space, it depends. Is your lease coming up? Do you still have a few more years? Can you extend it right now? Because lease space is, there's a lot of it. So maybe you can get a deal with your landlord for locking in longer term at a lower rate. If you're already locked in, maybe you need to sublet. Maybe there's an option where you can do some sharing of space, or, if you can't afford it or don't need it, can you just sublet the whole thing? That's something that you would have to go back to your landlord to verify, instead of just doing that on your own. But there's options on that side to bring that expense down. Maybe you need to also look at bumping your price a little bit. A little bit of an increase in your price, a little bit of a decrease in your expenses. That's money in your pocket. That can be the quickest way to ride that wave out.
Lorette, Matt, thoughts?
Well, I'm going before Matt because he probably knows more than me. It's good to jump in the middle. Give permission to ask questions. There's no right or wrong answer. We are all adults. There is some right answers and some wrong answers. There's some that are more correct and there's some that's more wrong. So at the end of the day, just talk to someone that's smarter than you. Just have that conversation to be like, I don't know what to do. Guys, tell me what to do. Because in this situation, I don't know what to do. I'm just pretending. So I'm like, wow, 3 more smarter people in the room. Go talk to them. That's my answer.
I'm going to say this, Lorette, because of that statement, you're the smartest person in the room. So, and I was actually going to highlight that is that first, I only know what I know. So find somebody better. But I will say, just on a personal note, I have usually done the variable 1 year's opens. And for the first time in in 25 years, I'm now looking at, hey, you know what? I might actually have to do a 5-year fixed, just because we do see that it's going to continue to do this, right? So that said, again, find the broker, find the expert in the field and see. I know on the residential side, that's probably where you would be going. On the commercial side, there's so many developers out there right now that are just kind of hitting pause just based off of what's been happening. Lumber prices, although that commodity is coming down and leveling out, thank goodness. What else is going to be challenged based off of, again, like we highlighted earlier, supply chain. If you need to order 600 one-piece tub shower enclosures, well, are you going to be able to meet the deadline and the budget because of the world of today, right? So are you going to maybe hit pause on some of those large-scale commercial developments because of that, right? So lots to think about. I would think specifically find the expert in the field. Know that there's going to be a lot of different answers out there right now, just because, again, opportunity within the system. But yeah, it truly will come down to, you have to be able to have that conversation, look somebody in the eye, be authentic, be vulnerable, and say, listen, I don't know what direction I should go. What are your thoughts as the expert? And for myself, again, I think the one of the big banks here, the one with the green color, decided to raise their rates a little bit in the past week, right? So that the other ones are going to be following suit. But I would always suggest also going with a broker, because they're going to have you as the best case scenario, not somebody else's brand product, right? So that would be, I guess, one of the things to highlight here.
All right. So let's give them a list of the things that are controllable. What is 100% inside of your control right now? What's the stuff you got to look at? Come on, guys, shopping list, right? Like, you're going to need to talk to an expert. And if you could get a slight adjustment to your rate for mortgage. Thanks, guys. You played it safe off the list I gave you. I want you guys, I want the smart people in the room. And Lorette, it's okay to come in and say, I'm not an expert at this. That's all right. It's okay. It's 100% okay. I'll tell you what. I used to work in mortgages. That was 15 years ago. I don't know anything, but on my screen, the dude in that corner right there, that's Paul. That dude is a real estate genius. So can he tell you some smart things about real estate? Hell yeah. This guy on my screen over here, That's Matt on my screen right now. That guy can tell you everything you need to know about fiat, non-fiat currency. This woman right here can talk to you about human capital and how to get the most out of your people. Is that worth something to you when you're trying to save money? You tell me if people are willing to do more for the same amount right now, or you can maximize the output that they've got or the output out of yourself. Does that have a benefit when things start to get tighter? Maybe just a little. So, woosah. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, give me a goddamn list. Give me something.
Let me go first.
Yes.
Who, what, where, when, why? Ask those questions, because that's the easiest answer for me. Like, I don't know anything. Let's ask some questions. Let's ask all the questions. So my list is all the question lists.
And I'll say this, utilize what you have to get the things that you will need in the near future. And again, obviously that's a conversation that I have through Barter Pay and others, but if you have aging inventory, utilize it and don't discount or bastardize your price point by driving it to the bottom with, again, in retail, it's, it's now winter, almost spring type stuff that's coming through or should be coming through. So they're discounting all of their summer, fall. Well, you know what? Utilize it in specific ways to get the things that you will need in the near future, certainly. And then I would also say, capture and engage with people like Lorette to make sure that your people capital is in place. So right now you're going to be running a super lean crew. They need to be able to do exactly what is needed, not necessarily wanted, but needed right now in order to ramp up into this holiday season, right? And I think I had mentioned one of our big national box retailers a couple of weeks ago did their holiday hiring. Well, that holiday hiring has been cut in half. And is that because of supply chain or because of costs or what we're seeing? So, realize that your people capital is going to be one of the most important keys moving into the next, the last 65 days, 70 days of the year.
I think it's being able to communicate effectively with, the people that you work with and your staff and let them know what's coming on the horizon. And then let's go back to point zero. Get the notebook out. Get the easel out, get the whiteboard out. Let's do some brainstorming. We did this at the beginning of our business and found our path and our direction and what we wanted to work on. Why can't we do it right now? And I think this is what a lot of business owners do is we forget, we get on that one path and that's it. Where's the innovation? Where's the outer stuff? Where's the stuff that we need to push to the next level? How can we do that with our marketing? What's working? What's not working? Why is it not working? Why don't I have the answer? And coming together like that, this is where we can see where we're at, but also look at where the opportunities are moving forward.
All right. So let's lay out some stuff for a moment. We're going to park it into the personal, business, and professional brackets, right? You, yourself, your household, your business itself, what makes you better at your job. Okay. We're going to pick the 3 buckets that MCC uses all the time. And we're going to give people some stuff to go take a look at. So I'm going to provide a list. I want you guys to tell me it's good, I'm crazy, or add some stuff to it. Okay. Personal side, mortgage, rent, lease payments. Lease payments include things like cars, etc. Right? Did you buy a big asset? Utilities, where you're at right now compared to what the market provides. Are you locked in on something? Can you get out of something? As you heard from Matt, don't buy a contract right now. Long term, rates are high. You're going to pay more for what's going on, but have a really good luck. Okay. Gas and fuel expenses, food expenses, entertainment expenses. Mitch, you're telling me to cut back on my groceries? Not necessarily. Telling you to work smarter, not harder with your money. Do you have to cut back? No. Do you have to change some things? Probably, likely. So in the personal bucket, we got mortgages, lease payments, rents. We've got utilities and other basic uses or commodities, in other words, essentials. We got food and we got fun. Is there anything that needs to be subcategorized down there? Why fun? Do I have to cut back on fun? No. Can you get a discount on something? Can you get a rate? Can you get a deal? Can you get a this or that, the other thing? What do you got going on? What can you use? What can you use? What's out there? What's available? Who can you talk to? What can you split with, etc.? How do you make things work a little better so that you can continue to enjoy quality of life, but you might need to find a little bit of breathing room with some money. So in the personal bucket, is it good? Is it enough? Is it defined enough? Or do we need more? What do we got?
I think it's really taking a look at managing what you are spending. I think most of us don't have the financial, haven't been exposed to that financial experience of knowing what a budget is. We rely too much on, you know, the access card. How much money do you actually have in your account? How much is actually coming out? Or are you on your overdraft all the time? So why don't you just make it simple? Budget quickly what you need. You know what's left over. Take that out in cash. Yeah, you know, it's the old way of doing things, but or load it onto a prepaid credit card. Now I know what I have to spend. And then I can pick and choose instead of just mindlessly buying shit that I don't need or doing stuff because I'm stressed or this is my hobby. It's now I know I've got $500, I've got $200. What am I going to choose to spend my money on? And I think that will also help bring some clarity around the money and relieve some of that stress and frustration moving forward.
I'm going to say it's going to be weird, but it's going to come out like in today's society, it's like fear mongering. We're all like entrenched with fear mongering and it's like scary. Everyone's completely scared right now. But if you went like the opposite of fear is having faith in like everything will work out. And like even the mindset behind, you know what? I am the king of my castle. I'm the queen. I'm going to win this. Like even just having the mindset of like, you know what, I can figure this out and I will win. So like, I always go back to mindset personally.
Well, I can agree wholeheartedly with both of that. So I actually do exactly what Paul had mentioned. I have a prepaid card on my phone, and that's the budget for kind of, you know, frivolous expenditures. And that's what you have, right? So, and we've even gone to the point now where our daughters have the same type of budgeting mindset. You know what? Sure. Yeah. You want some money? Great. Here's what you need to do in order to get it. And then from there, they have the same type of thing on, you know, my daughter now has a phone. We live in the world of today. I hate it. I love it. It's all those things, but she now has money on that phone that she can tap, right? Now, that's important to say that if you can teach your 10-year-old how to do that, why is it that some 45-year-olds sometimes fail at that, right? And it's just simply because we have this access to money, whether or not it's ours or others, and it becomes credit. We need to now look at, are we spending good money after bad in a way that we just are used to? Again, I've mentioned on these lunches before, I absolutely love click and order for groceries. It just allows us to just get what we need rather than what we want. It saved us money overall. And, you know, we as a family went out and went grocery shopping for the first time in months. And like my wife and I looked at one another when the bill came and we're like, what just happened? Right. But it was because you're buying the 3 for $10 and the 2 for $5 but you don't do that through it. So again, budget, yes, use the tools and the automations that are around us, I think are key. You know, business or commercial mindset would be, you have to look at the same type of scenarios that you're utilizing or the tools that you're utilizing in your personal life and see if they apply in your professional life as well, right? Do you need to take your car to work X amount of days? If you're in a hybrid model, can you discuss with your employer if there's, you know, one less day that I have to actually put pause on petrol, whatever it may be, right? So anyway, lots, I guess, that you need to think about. For myself, it's going to be about, if you're not making more money as you ramp up into this holiday season, you have to be able to save more money. Just plain and simple.
Okay. Now we're going to skip over business, go straight to professional. The stuff that makes us smarter, better, faster at our jobs, right? Whether that's LinkedIn subscriptions, payments for certain online software tools, etc., access to resources, education. In the world we're in right now, and I'm going to offer something as an alternative for a moment. Access to information and education has never come faster, smarter, better than it does right now for little or no cost. You can invest in a coach. You can do that, right? That would answer a lot of questions. Don't got to go to university there. You don't have to take a business course. You can invest in a coach. Setting aside investing in a coach for a moment, you can go to resources like Udemy. You can go to resources like Khan University. You can go to any number of resource sets that are available online for little or no cost to learn how to do something. You can go to Fiverr and pay for people to do things for you or help to educate you on certain actions. Have you bothered to go look at business services on Fiverr lately? Need somebody to help you structure a contract? There's human resources people on there. Are they any good? I don't know. I have no clue at all. Human resources, business consultants, contract specialists, engineers, people can do drafting for you, etc. What are the primary functions, or what are the things that you need to learn to do, or what helps you and your business fulfill itself and get better at your job? How many replicated costs do you have for multiple platforms? Are you paying regularly for this and that and the other? Are you paying regularly for places like Alignable, LinkedIn, etc.? Are you paying premium services or pro services for social platforms? Are you paying regularly for advertising and marketing that you haven't looked at on a regular basis? If you can cut out, and again, little businesses, watch out when you're doing this. A couple $100 a month for somebody else to help manage your marketing is a good cost of business. But if they're not teaching you how to get better at your marketing, or that you're not also investing in it at any given time, then you are stuck on a treadmill, whether it is $100, $200, or $2,000 a month. You're now in a position where you can't ask intelligent questions and you don't know what you're looking at. How could you possibly tell anything to do with your advertising, marketing, or sales, or doing better at their job if you can't in turn ask a simple question? Is this doing well? Is this improving? Is this attracting more attention? Is this making the phone ring? Is this getting more people to communicate? If you can't articulate from a marketing perspective, why do I bring that one up? I was an idiot at marketing 8 years ago. I was great at sales, but a complete idiot at marketing. When I started my first coaching business, one of the first tasks I said is, I know how to sell. So me getting in front of people is not an issue, and me convincing people, strong-arming people, bullying people, or talking to them in the right way to get them to say, hey, Mitch, I'm going to take your services, 100% simple to do. That was one of my specialties. That's one of the things that I'm still noted for and known for. In fact, come and take my sales course right now. It's going to make you better. But I was a complete and utter moron that understood nothing about marketing. And so I set the task of learning how to do it by investing in books, online courses, seminars, webinars. Some I spent far more than I should have. Others I spent less. But what I found is I continued to spend more, less, and no money. The information was all the same. So once you understood what it was, then how do you become better professionally at your job? So from the panel, what have you invested in for the last little while? And what are the 100% non-negotiables that people should look to invest in? And then how do they save money, or how do they make sure that they maximize what they're doing? Because it's not just about the cost, but we did start this discussion saying things are getting more expensive. So how do you maximize? How do you get more value for what you do have, or how do you save money off of it so you still get the same return? Let's make people better at their jobs.
I love how you said access to information. So of course there's like a million things getting hit at you, but access to wisdom is different. It's the 80-20 rule, right? So I guess if you hate what you're doing in your job, go pay someone else, obviously, because at the end of the day, passion and purpose within your company, every company needs a vision, a mission, and a purpose. If it doesn't align with your vision, mission, and purpose, don't do it. Get someone else smarter than you, right? But at the end of the day, aligning in who you are and understanding purpose, mission, vision, you can go anywhere with that. And if it doesn't align, I'm out. I'm not doing it. That's how I would say that.
Paul, Matt?
I'll say, yeah, like again, for myself personally, I've now realized just get the people that are better than you and then get out of their way, right? Make sure that they, again, mission, purpose, vision, all of these things, yes, very important. But I was watching it was a YouTube podcast, but it was about don't fixate on the product first. So again, you're a startup and all of a sudden you have this great product, and then you build your people around that. And then all of a sudden there's a culture that's built around this product. But what happens when that product comes to market? And whether or not it's a success or not, you now need to rebuild your people and your culture. So it's really important to define culture first, like who you are, what you are, why you want to do it as that small business owner. And again, even if you've been in business for 40 years, is your mission, vision, purpose relevant in your industry in the world of today, right? So you have to, again, I now pay people to say, okay, you're better than me at this, go for it. So I'm not an HR professional. I would pay somebody for that. Now, I need to make sure, and Mitch, you touched on this, you have to be able to qualify the gains and the expenditure, right? So here's where we're going to work. Here's what we need to see. So if you're just spending money, again, going back to my comment about good after bad, don't, right? But if you can qualify where you're spending it and most likely why you're spending it with that desired outcome, I think that's going to be super important for us. For me, again, it's HR, definitely training the people capital, which is most important to me right now. And yeah, marketing, you know what? Like I love doing this, but to develop what the entity and the brand and building that equity, I want someone else that's far better at it than me.
Paul?
Don't have the fucking time. That's what most of these people have. I mean, I'd love to do all of this. I'd love to do that. I'd love to take all these courses. This would be great. I'd love to sit down and learn about all of this app and do it, but I don't have the time. I'm running off my feet, and then, you know, my family, my kids, my wife, they don't even know my name anymore. So it's get some breathing room. Where's your calendar at? Have you followed a calendar? Are you doing actual quality, smart work, or are you just doing work? Where is your time going? How can you get that time back and block 90 minutes, 2 hours, when you know you're not going to be busy, when you know you're not going to be bugged, or when you know you're just messing around on Facebook? 2 hours every week, compounding. Now you get some time to block and learn. Now you get to move the needle on your business. So for me, I got to focus on the time. Where's it going?
So if I can summarize on the personal side of things, did I hear everybody say this correctly? We need a financial budget and a financial plan. Sensitive theme here. Now we're going to go to professional development. Did I just hear time management? How to figure out how your clock works? So money and time, managing both. Dare I hazard a guess at what's going to come out of business? So I'm going to leave that one open for the floor. So we got personal, get a budget, professional, learn to manage your time, which also includes investing in yourself and getting educated, right? What else are you going to do with it? Business. What do people have to be mindful of with what's happening now, what's going forward? What are the things, the components that they got to pay good attention to make sure they're maximizing their return, or they're getting some cost certainty? Panel, what you got? And I know I heard some of these answers already. That's okay. It's okay to bring them back because it's reinforcement. By the way, for everybody sitting here right now, I watch everybody's facial expressions all the time. And of course, perhaps I'm replying to somebody really quick, or, I'm watching our live stream feed to make sure everything's good on the back end of the YouTubes of the world. But I'm also watching for responsiveness here, because every week you go, some weeks we're hearing the same thing, guys, and other weeks we're hearing something really innovative. I want you to wrap your head around now what is 18 episodes. By the way, Lorette, you've been riding shotgun in here for a long time too. We are 18 episodes. Over 20 weeks, we've been coming to it hot and heavy now in MCC's virtual business box lunch. And if you haven't picked up the central theme we're laying down for you right now, there's some pretty good simplification going on. Do you know how to time manage? Do you know how to build a budget, right? Are you working off your people capital side? Have you learned to sell and market effectively? Have you learned to plan operationally? Sound familiar? These are the things that come up almost every given week here at some point or another. If it's been 20 weeks, you've been following along through 18 episodes, you're going, yeah, it's still not working. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help you. So please like and subscribe. And of course, continue to come back every week. We're happy to keep saying the same things over and over again until it sinks in. But for the rest of the audience, what do we got? Business, what should people focus on? And once again, remember, we're setting the table for Q1 2022. We're coming into both an expensive and a fun and a dangerous time for people. What do we have to pay attention to with our businesses to get set up? And where do we cost certainty, or where do we maximize our resources?
Going to throw in some science here and just be like E equals MC squared. Everything is energy. Where's the energy that you want to input in your life? Where do you want to go in life? You only have one life. Are you enjoying life today? Purpose. What is your purpose on life? like wrestle with theoretical issues at this point, right? We're all going through a weird crisis of faith or whatever. Like it's a weird journey that there's a rabbit hole with business, life, personal, everything, right? So like understand your why, understand you only have one life, you only have so much energy throughout the day. Use it in something that you love, use it in something that you can invest in, and use it the best possible case scenario.
Love it.
Massive action. We're chatting a lot about the strategies behind the business, personally, professionally, whatever it may be. But again, if you're not actually making the movement, then all of it's for naught. So you can have a great strategy and it's down on paper, it's in a book, it's like wherever. But if that book goes on the top shelf and all it does is collect dust, it's no good to anybody. So we need to ensure that everything that you have as the strategy, and that is a key part of success, it needs to become the motivator as well. But if you guys never make a move, then it does no one any good, right? So, and I'm a firm believer that I, as one person, have 100% energy. So when all of y'all out there are saying, oh, I give 120%, that means that you're taking 20% from others around you. I don't subscribe to that. But if I have a team around me, like these three people in the room, I now can have 400% if we're all moving in the same direction at the same time. And I think that cadence and speed is super important, because if I'm sprinting and Mitch is just jogging, we're only going to see one another, once every 4 or 5 times around the track. So we need to make sure that you have alignment within your team and your brand to make sure that you can move forward as this big entity, if you are.
Paulie?
It's a disconnect. There's so many disconnects. There's so many disconnects with entrepreneurs, business owners, and everything related to it. Does a business owner understand what marketing function is and what it's supposed to do, and what am I supposed to be monitoring? What is my sales team? Do you have your marketing department and your sales team in the same meetings? Or are you blaming your sales teams for not getting enough sales, but it's actually what the marketing team is doing because it's not converting properly? Like, this is the gaps that we need to close. We need to get these departments together, communicating, so that we're both on the same page. Both departments understand, everybody in the company understands we're working towards the same thing, instead of one department going off and doing whatever they do. And that's what I find is it's a disconnect. I don't actually know what marketing is. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what the sales guys are doing. So we need to communicate a lot better. And the other thing is we go forward, the baby boomers are retiring and they're getting out of business. So I was talking to another coach just prior to this, who was talking to a lady that sells business broker. 187,000 businesses are going to be up for sale. 187,000 businesses. 10% of those are going to be sold. 90% are going to be sold off in pieces and closed. Why? Because of the disconnect. They are their business. If they left the business, what is left? They've worked in their business the whole time, 20 years, 25 years of toil and struggle. They're in the business. They haven't put the systems in, communicate, fill those gaps, so they can work on their business. That's when you have something to sell. So if somebody's looking at selling their business, you're going to have 3 to 5 years of setup if you're in your business, in order to have something to sell at the end of the day. And it's really disconcerting. 90% of them are going to be shut down. That's not right.
As a final thought, and having heard from everybody here, 30 seconds. What do they do January 2nd so they don't get caught with their pants down?
Plan now for January 2nd. So if you're going to wait, and again, we're all kind of heads down, head up, like it's like a foxhole, right? When all the gunfire is ahead of you. You kind of put your head down, right? But we're in it. And Laurette, you spoke to this. Like you have to say, okay, here's where we are. This is the world we're living in. We all are having some sort of challenge with it, no matter who we are. But if you're waiting till January 2nd to hit the ground running, January 2nd, you've waited too long. So get yourself a coach, get yourself a career developer or an HR professional, get yourself a marketing team, and then let's access those tools now so that you have all of those foundations set for the new world of business in 2022.
Laurette?
Last year, January 2nd, this year, I mean, it was like 20 missions were thrown at me at the beginning of the year. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to play that game anymore. So it's exactly what Matt said. Plan early. So like, hello, everyone. Today is the day to plan for January 2nd of like next year, because like it happens really quick. And like, don't have 20 missions thrown at you. Understand there's going to be 20 missions that are way different that you've never thought about that will be thrown at you.
Paul?
I love having the big piece of paper. Having everything on one piece of paper gets the clutter out. You can really start to organize your thoughts on that side. So what is the problem? What am I confused with in my business? What is my stress? What am I frustrated about? That's what you have to figure out. And then you have to reach out and ask. That's what these professionals here and professionals out there. And if it's not the right answer, you've got to keep looking. And if it doesn't work once, you're going to stop. No, you got to keep going until you find what you need, because at the end of the day, you want your time back. And that's what we all provide here is, when's the last time you were able to take a Friday off or a couple of days off without all hell breaking loose in your business or your phone going absolutely nuts? That's what we're looking for. Is let's start with just taking one day off, because then that means you have your systems in place and you're working on your business. So then you can take that away and sell it in the future.
I'm going to summarize today for everybody else out there. So if you want to, and you're not going to hear this till the last minute or so of this show anyway, so it's too late. You should have scrubbed forward to minute 59 of this one, but hey, you're going to get it right now at the end. Get a budget, learn to time manage, add something first cumulative, and then return that bigger geometrically and quantum by making yourself smarter at your job. Why should you do all these things? These small steps and mechanics we do is operation practice in business. You have to learn to do the mechanics. But businesses that survive, thrive, and grow have what? Violence of action. Whenever we innovate, it is an act of creation, it is an act of violence, and it is an act of sudden movement. When was the last time, and ask yourself honestly, between now and January 2nd, when was the last time you had a sudden movement in your business, that you caused a creation and an innovation, that you did something different and new, and that, guess what? It was violent as hell, because everything that changes in business is an act of violence, and that word change causes all of us, the best of us, to be afraid and our buttholes puckered tight as hell when we think that we have to change something, because we get so used to doing it the same way, and the same way will lead to failure 97% of the time in business. Get off your ass and do something violent and in the best interest of you personally, your family, your welfare, and your business, because you will be ahead of your competitors. Laurette, Matt, Paul, thank you so much for 45 minutes of bringing it. This is the MCC Virtual Business Box Lunch, October 8th of 2021. And what did we just say to you? Get a budget, manage your time, learn to do something you're not comfortable with, and be violent as hell in business. No, don't go start a fist fight, but do something creative and do a massive action that you haven't done before, and plan like hell for January 2nd, because if you spend the next 90 days planning, on January 2nd, you can take that violent action and do something that your competitors and the marketplace doesn't expect, and it will cause improvement for you. We will see you next time at the Virtual Business Box Lunch. And as always, my brothers from other mothers, Matt and Paul, Laurette, who's almost always riding shotgun with us here as well, Mitch Kamich, I love you, love your business, get your act together, and together we're going to do something fantastic.